What is up, everyone? Dan here, Crypto Capital Venture, December 22nd, 2019. I'm finally doing a video. I've been taking a break. I'm just going to throw it out there, but I'm back, especially going into New Year. I'm the next week or so might be a little slow, but going into New Year, I'm going to make some moves with this YouTube channel, do it more consistent. Been busy hanging out with family. I hope you have been doing well. I want to talk about Bitcoin in this video, and I'll kind of put the charts on the screen. I do want to wait a second just to make sure I get at least one person in here that hears me. And it looks like I do. LTC Perosi, what is up? What's up, Jay? I see you. Appreciate all of you out there coming by. Bitcoin, Litecoin. I'm going to look at both in this video. They're the two I'm tracking. Bitcoin, I'm tracking most. I've been tracking most, especially for the last 6 months or so after Litecoin's halving. We know we were tracking Litecoin going into Litecoin's halving, but now we're going into Bitcoin's halving. So there's a little bit of a pivot in terms of my own interest. And so that's what we're doing. But I am interested in Litecoin because I hold Litecoin and I want to see where it is. So here's Bitcoin. This is Bitcoin on the daily. The title of this video is Bitcoin and Litecoin Breakout Incoming. There are times when I think we can really gauge a breakout. And I'm not saying up or down right now. There's two cases every video I make, every day of the week, every day of the year. Bitcoin, Litecoin, cryptocurrencies can go up or down. So be careful if you come across videos that are just calling 100% that they're going to go a certain way. There is no way to predict that. Charts can give us an indication when something is getting ready to happen, right? Maybe we see some indicators that show that a certain direction is more likely. And from those things, we can make our decisions. But just don't put all your eggs in one basket. Be prepared for anything. So here's what we're looking at on Bitcoin. Obviously, I do want to start with this. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. I try and get a video. I used to try and get a video every day. It's coming. Don't worry. Video every day coming. But I cover Bitcoin mostly, a lot of Litecoin, and potentially as alt season gets closer, and I'm thinking, we still have a good amount of time before that happens. I'm probably going to be covering some altcoins as well as I start maybe doing some trading, because there are just so many gains. Hit the subscribe button if you're new here. So before we really dive into the charts, this is the long-term parabolic chart of Bitcoin. Charted it back in December. We're on pace. Bitcoin's looking fine in my opinion. And it just, all this takes patience, right? We want to see gains in these markets, but it's like anything else. You have to give the cycles time to go through each season, right? And this is the cycle of Bitcoin. There's a chart, there's a link in the description below describing this chart, and feel free to read through my technical analysis on what you see here. But Bitcoin's on pace, long story short. That's zoomed out. Always zoom out for the best context. Crypto Barry 88, thank you, says need more likes. Hit likes. That's right, everybody, hit those likes. Pump me up as I'm trying to get these YouTube videos going again. So Bitcoin on the daily chart really gives us some context. I mean, look at the story being told, and we've tracked these patterns, and it's unbelievable to me that every time we look back historically, it takes a while to get here, but the patterns, they just set up so perfectly, right? So just with what you see on the screen, and there's so much more if we zoom out even more, but with what you see on the screen, I want to just paint what happened so far. We had our first off, this is a Fibonacci. This is the bull market doors right here. This channel, 16,000 down to 14,000 or so, right there. We need to break that to enter the bull market. So we have some time before that happens. But we saw resistance there as anticipated leading out of the Bitcoin bear market, right? Now, since then, this is what has happened. We've first fell into this symmetrical triangle that you see here. I'm going to draw each pattern. So here's a symmetrical triangle right there, right? We tracked that. We said, a breakout out of this triangle to the upside would be awesome to retest this Fibonacci bull market doors again. But it didn't happen. We started a downtrend, and we broke to the bottom of this triangle, right? We almost retested the triangle, right, for a busted symmetrical triangle, and we said, this could be nice. A busted symmetrical triangle leading us into that Fibonacci bull market doors? No, that didn't happen. Instead, we saw resistance at the bottom trend line of this triangle, and we continued down to a target right here out of this triangle. So notice September 20th, 2019, Bitcoin broke below this triangle, or I guess September 24th. And it actually took for the target to be hit until November 25th, a little over 2 months before the target actually hit. So first off, when you're tracking patterns and stuff, please just be patient and let it happen, right? We look for resistance and we look for support along the way, but let's wait to see each pattern get hit, right? So there's a symmetrical triangle. We track that. That's in play, right? That hit its targets. And then along the way, what has happened is we fell into an even larger falling wedge, which we're literally in right now. And that's these red lines. And I'm not going to draw them, but here's the start of it up here. Here's the bottom trend line down here. And you just see them. They go all the way. This is a falling wedge that we're tracking right now. We're still tracking it. Going back to summer in June, we're in December. This is an epic falling wedge. And I think there's a lot that can be told in terms of what happens next for Bitcoin out of this wedge. And so obviously the upside potential is huge for a breakout into that Fibonacci again. The bull market doors. Everybody wants that. But we have to keep in mind that there's also very big potential for Bitcoin to see continued downtrend below this wedge into the $4,700 area for that target. Now, keep in mind, this could be an epic, like we're talking huge symmetrical triangle that goes back to the bull market high of December 2017. This could be a higher low in that symmetrical triangle. And if you really want these long-term gains going into Bitcoin halving, which is this white line, and you want these long-term gains, going up to like $80,000 or so, we're talking this is a symmetrical triangle we want to see play out with a breakout like looking something like that. All speculative, everybody, but I'm trying to give you all scenarios zoomed out and zoomed in. So let's zoom in a little bit again. And here we go. We're still tracking this falling wedge, and we're kind of like in this bottom range of the wedge, right? We've been trading here. And one thing that's also confluent with everything going on with this falling wedge is this. We have a potential head and shoulders, right? So here's the left shoulder. Here's the head. Here's the right shoulder. Now, we've recently bounced off this neckline, which is nice to see that we bounced off the neckline. I remember tweeting about this head and shoulders and saying, man, here's a breakout potential under this huge falling wedge, and it plays into this head and shoulders, which is a more bearish setup with a breakout around 4,800, breakout target around 4,800. So very close to that falling wedge, right? Now, that did not happen. We've at least it hasn't happened yet. But we have some support that we got at the neckline, and we had like a bounce on December 18th, 4 days ago or so. We had a nice little day, and right now we're at $7,400 Bitcoin. We're cruising along, right? So first things first, when we're tracking an inverse head and shoulders or a head and shoulders, oftentimes what happens for Bitcoin is, and it does this on both ends of the spectrum, you'll have this play out, right? So left shoulder, head, right shoulder. We hit the neckline, and many people might be like, here we go, we're going to break down, but we get a small bounce. So we see a support at the neckline, but then we come back down and then we break through it. So please just be on the lookout for that. But the range you really want to look for in terms of something like that happening, and I'll go over the 4-hour chart to really zoom in on this. And you can still see the head and shoulders here. Here's the left shoulder, right? Here's the head, here's the right shoulder. But really, the key area you want to look for in that bearish scenario, and this is for the downside if you're wondering, is down here. And it's a lot of confluence happening, right? Right around this neckline area, around $6,500. Right now we're at $7,400. $6,500 can come very quick, by the way. But a lot of confluence. We have this long term, you see this red lower trend line. That's that huge falling wedge that extends to June, right? We have this descending triangle with a double bottom here, right? So there's confluence there. And then obviously we have the neckline of this head and shoulders, potential head and shoulders right here. So $6,500, if we test that area, be very careful and just look at what happens. Is Bitcoin showing support there? Are we closing 4-hour candles above it? Are we going to start closing daily candles above it if we get there? If we start closing candles below it, just be very cautious and very much on the lookout. It could be an oversold scenario, but those aren't usually the oversold scenarios I I like to buy Bitcoin. So this is the 4-hour chart. 4-hour chart would be oversold. But even if we look at the daily chart right now, you can see how the stock RSI up here is overbought. If we come down to that neckline down here, right, $6,500, this is going to come down. And a lot of times when the daily is oversold on the stock RSI, it sets up a nice environment to buy the dip. But when we're testing a neckline for the second time of a head and shoulders, and it's a lower trend line of this huge falling wedge, I'd be a little remiss. I'd be a little hesitant to buy that dip. So I'd be watching support there. I wouldn't be doing anything. The dip I would buy is if we break below that, and then this would pretty much be the final area for me where I'm kind of just probably buying. I'm probably going to buy a lot of Bitcoin, and this is me anticipating this breakout area. And I know it sounds terrible, $4,800. It doesn't scare me at all. I just want to throw that out there. It's so negative to people, and Twitter's going to be going crazy if it happened. But just look at this. This is the exact type of environment we had in the bear market low. Bitcoin will be oversold like crazy if we came and tested this area anywhere under $5,000. Plus, we'll be out of this Fibonacci area. This Fibonacci area is a swing low bear market low to swing high in summer, right? And we will come back down and we'll be below this oversold channel. Now, that's an extremely similar area to where Bitcoin was back here. And I'm just going to show you real quick because this was a picture perfect area to accumulate Bitcoin. This is zoomed out, and this is a longer term Fibonacci, okay? But this is what it looks like. Bitcoin oversold like crazy at the bottom of the bear market and below this Fibonacci channel, which is the bear market low to bull market high. And this was literally the best time to accumulate and the most fearful, the most scary. But if you were accumulating Bitcoin then, you saw some amazing gains after. And, I think in the long term, some crazy gains. So going back to this chart, if we're looking at this Bitcoin daily chart, it's the same exact thing, just on a smaller scale. We have a swing low to a swing high down to Fibonacci, potentially below it. Oversold conditions, people freaking out, people scared, I'll be buying. So I don't know if we're going to get there. Either way, so bullish to me. It's still a higher low. Bitcoin's still up since last December, even in a scenario like that. And Bitcoin's just looking very good, in my opinion, from all angles. So that's kind of what we're looking at on Bitcoin. Obviously, I don't have to really talk too much about the upside. We have little breakout targets on the upside, including kind of where we are right now. So a breakout target, our first breakout target would be around $8,800 or so at the upper trend line of this falling wedge. And that's a breakout out of this descending triangle that we see here. So this is what it would look like. And we're testing this descending triangle right now on this 4-hour chart. Could we get a breakout to $8,800? Potentially. My point in the title of this video is this. I think a breakout is coming. And we're getting kind of at this area where we have a lot of patterns that are kind of ready to break one way or another, right? We have this head and shoulders pattern that we talked about right here. We have this descending triangle pattern. We're testing the upper trend line right now. And if we don't break this upper trend line and we come back down, then we're going to be testing that head and shoulders neckline again down here, very confluent area. So I think as we're kind of heading towards the apex of this descending triangle, and we're talking in the next week or so, I'm fairly confident that we're going to have some type of breakouts. Whether that's to the downside or upside, I don't know. I don't know if we're going to be enjoying bullish gains or struggling together in those bearish moves to the downside. But one way or the other, a breakout, I believe, is coming. And that's kind of the story here. That's why I posted this video today. And that's why you see this clickbait title, because I know people are going to say it's clickbait in the comments below. Clickbait, I think, for me would be if I do the video every day and there's like some hype going on. There's a lot of YouTube videos like that. And that's also partly why I'm not doing videos a lot. I can't stand competing with all the hypeness out there. And I want to try and offer like just new stuff to look at and watch. And here we are at a very confluent area where I think we're going to get some breakouts. So that's Bitcoin. I'm not going to like do crazy deep technical analysis on Litecoin like I just did for Bitcoin, but I will say this. Litecoin is I'm happy I'm holding what I'm holding long term. I think Litecoin is going to be one of those altcoins that sees awesome gains, you know, when we get our next bull market high, assuming that happens. But the biggest thing I'm watching right now is kind of this consistency of how Litecoin is retracing after this last Litecoin halving, and the consistency, the similarity of it to last time. So here's this last Litecoin halving right here, right? This past summer. And here's the last Litecoin halving in 2015. Now, we know we saw great gains and consolidation at the 50 moving average for a long time while Bitcoin was doing its thing, right? And we talked about this literally before we even had this swing high in summer leading into the halving. But we talked about a very similar scenario coming out of the bear market. We're going to get a swing high. We're going to consolidate like crazy. I said to maybe $60. I didn't think we would go any lower, which we did, obviously. And then we have this Fibonacci area is really the main thing I'm looking at right now, because you can see how back in 2015, 16 into 17, we consolidated right at or above this Fibonacci area. And that Fibonacci area is swing low down here to swing high and back down. It's a 786 to 618. This time around, swing low to swing high and back down, we're actually below the Fibonacci retracement area. So, and you can actually see, I mean, it's very minimal, but Bitcoin or Litecoin came back below that briefly, below the Fibonacci channel, and quickly bounced into it. That didn't happen this time around. And it's not a bad thing, in my opinion. Litecoin moved extremely strong out of this last bear market low, right? We saw, 500% plus gains here. So Litecoin's having a very strong consolidation right now. So being a little bit below the Fibonacci channel is not bad, in my opinion. But really what I want to see for Litecoin and what I'm watching most right now, and we talked about Litecoin kind of being weak against Bitcoin for the next year or so. There's a lot up against Litecoin right now, but what I'm really watching for a sign of strength is for Litecoin to at least fall into a new range, $50 to $70. And I don't even care if it's there for like a year, but I'm really curious to see if we get into that range. If Litecoin actually continues down right now and we're falling into a range of like $20 to $30 or something, I'll still hold Litecoin long term, right? And I'll probably even eventually accumulate more Litecoin because that would be very cheap prices. But it'll look a little riskier to me, and it just won't look as strong in consistency as I thought it would, right? And this is it. We anticipate things happening, but when we finally see it play out, we have to kind of readjust our thinking. We have to readjust our mindset. We have to readjust the way we accumulate cryptocurrencies. And this is what it will look like for Litecoin. But right now, Litecoin looks fine to me. We've consolidated like crazy, which was anticipated, maybe a little more so than we thought, right? I didn't really think we would actually even really break this Fibonacci channel coming from our swing high in June, but we did. But realistically, like it's not that crazy below it, right? What is it below? Let's see. We wicked down 25%. Right now, we're around 15% below. So that can change in a day. We can be back up. And if we see support in this green range, $70 to $50 or so, $48, then Litecoin, in my opinion, is going to look healthy. But I wouldn't expect or anticipate too much from it, at least in the midterm, because Bitcoin has its halving coming up. All eyes are on Bitcoin right now. There will be a play for altcoins, Litecoin included, in the future. I'm happy I've accumulated Litecoin. Just that bear market low was beautiful for so many people. And that's kind of what I'm looking at for Litecoin. I want to draw your attention to this. I put a link in the description. This is a tweet from October 9th, and I did a video on it too, so feel free to watch the video. Extremely interesting stuff. Bitcoin floor at $6,400. So this is like 2.5 months ago I did this video, and it's essentially based on this tweet right here. And I put a link in the description. You can read through this thread. And I basically said on October 9th, if you care about Bitcoin price, read this thread. Such good data. And I'm actually curious. I don't know what was Bitcoin price on October 9th. Let's just see. October 9th, Bitcoin was, it was in the $8,000 range, I guess. And so we talked about this, and I did a video on it, October 9th. Go check it out. I'm not going to read through this thread. That's what I did in that other video. But there's case for Bitcoin mining costs and why $6,400 could be the bottom. And it actually plays into a lot of technical analysis as well. So go check that out. It's something to watch for. What's interesting about it is if we go to Bitcoin on the 4-hour chart, and I'm going to zoom in. I was going to zoom in. We go to Bitcoin on the 4-hour charts. No, now we're on the weekly, on Litecoin. Here we go, Dan. You can do it. I believe in you. So, here. Zooming in. Oh, man. This mouse is killing me. All right. Now my computer's slowing down. How about everybody hit the like while I stall here? All right, there we go. You see this nice little wick right here. Look at that. It's like $64.24, right? And I just think it would be awesome. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but December 18th, $6,400 basically, right? And this post, and this has nothing to do with me. This was this thread by Cole Garner, and I think he was talking about this guy, Phil B, who I think was the one that actually talked about $6,400. And it's a great thread. Check it out. Link is in the description. Would be insane if we look back at this in 5 months, a year, whenever, and this plays out. And here it is, actually. This is production cost doubles when the block reward halves. That makes $63.40 the new floor. Smart money knows it. Again, retail has no clue. Again, lots of longs in the right place for the wrong reasons. That's just part of the thread. This says that doesn't mean price will reach the $6,400 region, but Phil B makes a case for it. Big miners have incentive to drive Bitcoin price back to its production cost. Isn't that interesting? There's so much there. It sounds so simple, but there could be so much to that. And so many people freaking out, and actually so many people just kind of leaving cryptocurrency in general and Bitcoin, giving up on Bitcoin in general. And there could be so much context and so much meaning to this thread. It could fail. Bitcoin might go below $6,400 later today. I'm just saying. They'd love to dish out Max Payne one more time before the bull market steamrolls forward out of control, which, mark my words, that is what I believe is going to happen. The bull market is going to steamroll forward out of control. He says, why low prices drive less efficient competitors out of business. One miner's capitulation is another man's market share. And there you go. You have miners giving up. You have all these people giving up in crypto, and basically all of that happening is another man's market share, another man gaining from all these people giving up. And it's almost what he says there ties perfectly into like the buy the dip, buy the fear type of mentality. People are like going crazy. People are leaving. People are done. People are selling in oversold conditions. And then maybe we're buying those oversold conditions. We're buying those people, that fear that the people have, and we're the ones gaining. And that's kind of how the markets have worked historically for the lifetime of Bitcoin. Every bull market is preceded by a terminal shakeout. It's a spring, one last higher time frame stop run before the parabolic advance gets started. Look at this chart. This is from 2015, 2016. Like here, a lot of people probably right here in the first swing low of that bear market bottom back here, you can see that on the screen, probably thought that was the low, right? And then we're kind of seeing some gains, and then we come back down again. And that is like a final shakeout, right? And there is a lot of similarity with what's happened now for Bitcoin. And we can just kind of look at the weekly chart here. We had this bear market. This is way zoomed out. This is a weekly zoomed out. We had this bear market low back here. And even the bear market low is similar to what we just looked at in terms of this second swing low. It's a higher low. But on a more macro level, you can see Bitcoin's, seeing another type of swing low, higher low. And these are the types of scenarios that really do shake people out. They scare people, that people don't want to endure these things, when in reality, the best opportunity is to actually endure and is to buy. So let's see what happens. This guy, who I agree with this statement also, I think this is the last time we'll ever see Bitcoin below 10K, but I also think we need to revisit liquidity in last year's eternal range before we can make a run at all-time highs. So I'm agreeing that with this first statement. I think this is the last time we'll ever see Bitcoin below 10K. I do. The question is, how long will we be here? I don't know. I'm just here to provide the data. I'm just here to share with you my thoughts, my approach to accumulation, and really, all patterns aside, all Fibonacci aside, I mean, maybe the technical indicators are lining up really nicely for us, right? Whether you're looking at Bitcoin or Litecoin, they're lining up nicely. But if we zoom out on the chart, every time I try and zoom out on this chart, for some reason, it doesn't load. Come on. You can see Bitcoin just higher low in this oversold area on the RSI. That is nice. Stock RSI oversold, right? So these momentum oscillators oversold. There's a lot of fear in the market. Maybe we go lower, but either way, those two things combined for me are extremely bullish scenarios. They're extremely strong indicators to buy the dip, buy the fear. And so that's kind of where we are. And I've been buying this dip that we've been in, right, since June. But this last one that we possibly might get, I keep going back here. This mouse is not working with me. This last one that we possibly might get, if these patterns do break to the downside and we visit maybe something like $5,000 at this 200 weekly moving average, that is it. That is the final heavy accumulation for me. Then I'm going to sit back and watch. I think that would be an incredible opportunity for so many people. I don't know what you'll be doing, but we should definitely be patient because look at Bitcoin zoomed out on the charts. It's ahead of the game. Everybody wants it quicker. Everybody wants it to happen sooner, but we're actually moving quicker out of this bear cycle than we did last time. And so if you weren't here last time, imagine the people that did endure, the people that did hang out, the people that were here for all this time. Bitcoin's not seeing anything, major happen out of this bear market. I mean, we just enjoyed very quickly out of this bear market 300% gains for Bitcoin, more for some altcoins like Litecoin. We're in a consolidation. Zoom out on the charts, relax a little bit, chill out a little bit, press the subscribe button a little bit, hit the like button a little bit because I appreciate it. I appreciate all of you hanging out on a Sunday. Hit the like button here if you're here right now. If you're here right now, I tell you, please enjoy your Sunday. Enjoy life. There's so much more going on outside of crypto, and enjoy your family. Get out there, hustle. Have a great rest of your weekend. I should be doing another video, but Merry Christmas. God bless you. God is good. Jesus is born this week, and that is my King. And I appreciate you. I will see you all in the very next video. Have a good one, and God bless.